All right. Hello, everybody. Looks like I am now live. Happy Thursday. Hope you've been enjoying your week so far. Today, I'm going to be talking all about printables, about selling on Etsy, our E-Printables course, digital products. I'm an open book. Ask me anything and everything. It looks like we have a bunch of people watching live, which is awesome. I can see the chat on the right-hand side of my screen here. I did have people submit some questions in advance, and I combed through our community and I looked through some Etsy forums and saw some of those popular questions. So I'll have that to populate the chat. But let's just get it started. Let us know where you're watching from. I'm in Massachusetts. I'm going to be heading out to an undisclosed tropical location in a couple of days. The reason I can't say it, you never know who's watching. We have a friend's bachelor and bachelorette joint party somewhere warm. That's all I'll say. And we're leaving next week. So super excited for that to get out of the cold Massachusetts. But drop it in the chat. And I'll also let me know that the chat is working correctly. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay, and without further ado, let's get into some of the questions that I had preloaded. All right, California, never bad weather there. You don't need to escape. Okay, first question. Is the printables market too saturated? I don't see how I could possibly stand out. This is a great first question. Let's start with a heater. All right, looks like we got people from Atlanta, East Texas, Michigan. Awesome. Hello, hello. My joy, Grey Knights, Jamie. Good to have you here. Okay, so is the printables market too saturated? My opinion, no. Here's why. And obviously, you're going to be like, Cody, you're biased, but I'm going to actually give reason behind why I think this. So, I don't know if you watch the Super Bowl, but Etsy is spending a lot of money on ads. They had an ad in the Super Bowl, which 30-second, 60-second ad costs millions and millions of dollars. But outside of the Super Bowl, football aside, Etsy is spending a ton of money advertising on other platforms. So they're advertising on Google, on Yahoo, on Bing, on all these other search platforms. And what they're doing is they're actually pushing our products, us Etsy sellers, if you're already an Etsy seller, they're pushing your products out to new people. So Etsy's buyer base has continued to expand, expand, expand. They've gone from like 80 to 100 million in 5-6 years or so. So Etsy is spending a lot getting new people onto their platform. So that's one thing. So new buyers are coming on, which as a seller, and us sellers are vastly outnumbered by the number of buyers on Etsy. That's great news. The other thing, where the printables market is too saturated. If you're someone who is like, you know what, I'm gonna create a thank you card, or I'm gonna create a Father's Day card, or I'm gonna create a teacher's appreciation card. When you're trying to compete with people up here, I'm gonna get into keyword research and long tail versus short tail keywords. I'll dive into all that today. But when you're in the basics up here, when it's a Valentine's Day card or a thank you card or a teacher's appreciation card, and there's no extra oomph to it. There's no it's not a Valentine's Day card for her like first Valentine's Day. It's not a teacher appreciation card for gym teacher. These once you start to get one layer down, so this is called a short tail keyword. Now I'm just diving into the weeds. Let's do it head first. A short tail keyword is basically a product idea that it's short tail, meaning it's not that many words to describe it. So for example, a thank you card. That's a short tail keyword. As you get more longer tail, basically all that means is fancy jargon for more words to describe the thing that you're selling. So instead of a thank you card, maybe it's a first grade substitute teacher thank you card. You see how more descriptive it is and how better of a match it probably is for someone who's typing that into the search bar. If someone's typing in, first grade substitute teacher thank you card, and your thing pops up and it's exactly that, they're like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was looking for. But if you're just operating up here and you're competing with everybody else selling thank you cards or everybody else selling Valentine's Day cards, that's where, yes, the printables market is very saturated because people don't understand keyword research. People don't understand niching down, which is one of the main things I'm going to be talking about today. And it's a thing we cover a lot in our E-Printables course, which if you didn't know, reason I'm doing this, we're in the middle of our big public launch. Every year we do 2 big public launches, which basically means it's open enrollment. We let as many people into our course as we can. We have all of our group experts ready to answer questions. This is like our biggest push of the year. It's because we have a bunch of holidays coming up, summer's coming up, people are starting their side hustles, people are just getting out of the holiday funk. And so I'm just here to answer all your questions. We've got a lot of questions via email, via social media over the past couple days. So if I can help in any way, shape, or form, here I am. And I'm here to answer any questions you have about printables, about our E-Printables course, about digital products, about Etsy in general. I am an open book and I'm here to help. So that's kind of the the genesis of why I am doing this live Q&A tonight to help you guys get started on this journey and hopefully address any specific questions you might have that weren't covered on our website or on our sales page. But the E-Printables course, just so you know, I'm going to talk about it a little bit more later on, is only open for enrollment until April 1st at midnight. So you got a couple more days to decide, but honestly, jump in now. We have a cool challenge that's coming up in April. It's called the April Challenge. We had one back in January. It was a hit. We had like 200 people participate, and people made all these trending seasonal products, and we're making sales from them, which is really cool. Okay, so back to keyword research. So how you can stand out, how you can kind of beat the quote unquote saturated market is by going after these longer tail keywords. And let's just do some quick public math. Public math on a live video is always a bad idea, but I'm going to go for it. Hopefully you guys are here and you're supportive. And if I mess up, you won't hold it against me. So let's just say there's 200 people searching for some longer tail keyword. So if you're typing in Valentine's Day card, or you're typing in thank you card, there's 100,000 searches every month for that type of product. But if it's a very specific thing, if it's a first grade substitute teacher thank you card, there might only be 150 or 200 searches for that every month, or maybe even less. And let's just assume that you get a very small market share of that total pie. Of the 200 searchers, you get 1%. What's that? Two people or a couple people? You get 1%, you get 2%, whatever it might be. And you have this $5 product. And month over month, you're making, 4, 5, 6 sales. If you have a $5 product making 5 sales every month, it's $25 a month. You stack that, you get 10 of those longer tail keywords. Like maybe you have the second grade substitute teacher. Maybe you have the gym teacher thank you card. Maybe you have a thank you card for a nurse or a specific type of nurse. There's all these ways you can niche down, and all you need is a tiny little piece of that pie. All you need is make a $25 a month from this product, from this product, from this product. Maybe you're making 50 from this one. All of a sudden, you could easily have a multi-hundred or multi-thousand-dollar per month side hustle. That's kind of the name of the game. A lot of people think they need just like one winner item, or they need thousands of items in their Etsy shop, and one might make a sale here, one might make a sale there. But honestly, it's once you get 5, 10, 20 products that are selling somewhat regularly, and again, they're longer tail keywords, and you're getting even just a small piece of that market share, it can very easily add up to 25 plus 25 plus 50. All of a sudden, you're looking at a couple hundred extra bucks per month in mostly passive income, because these are digital products that get automatically delivered via Etsy. Oh, this is a cool one. I was looking for a birthday card from a friend whose birthday is on the same day as the solar eclipse coming up. Look at that long tail keyword. It's like solar eclipse birthday card. And you know the people who are typing that into the search bar, and you have the best looking card ever. It's perfectly known that it's a solar eclipse. It says solar eclipse birthday card on the listing image in the title. You're gonna absolutely dominate just the regular old birthday card people, because it's so specific and it's for an upcoming event. I'm going to talk about events and trends, so hang around. But that is a perfect example of a long tail keyword where instead of just competing with regular old birthday card and having some hokey phrase on it and adding a graphic, now you're competing against way less people because it's for such a specific product, a solar eclipse themed birthday card. Pretty sure those things happen once every, I don't even know how many years, but it's not very often. So there's so fewer people competing for that product. Okay. Good question. What do you mean when you say keyword research? So keyword research, and I was talking about short tail versus long tail keywords, just kind of jumping off in the deep end. Don't worry, I got the floaties and nobody's going to drown here. I'm going to make sure we all understand all the concepts I'm talking about today. So keyword research is basically just the act of looking up keywords. There's a million different tools to do this. There's free ones, there's paid ones. You can go and look up trending stuff on Google Trends, on Pinterest Trends. It's trends.google.com, trends.pinterest.com. A secret one I like to do is literally just type things into the Etsy search bar and let it autocomplete. You know, when you're typing something into Google and it just autocompletes the rest of the sentence, that means that a lot of people are searching for whatever the rest of the sentence is. Same thing with Etsy. So if you type in thank you card for, and then the top 20 results pop up, auto completed, you're like, oh, wow, I wouldn't even have thought that that was a popular item. And then you can use that and you can put those results into more keyword research tools if you want. There's, again, free ones, paid ones. I personally like eRank. I'm a fan of Insight Factory. I'm a fan of Everbee. I've used Marmalade before. Sales Samurai has a Chrome extension. There's all these different ones. There's no right or wrong answer. I'm not out here shelling keyword research tools. There's a lot of awesome ones out there. I personally like eRank. But yeah, once you get that data, then you can start to dig in and see, okay, how many people, because I know I was throwing around some numbers before, you can actually see, oh, 200 people per month are searching for this product. Do I have a chance of getting a 1 or 2 or 5% market share of this product? What does that translate to in terms of revenue? I'm a side hustle guy, so I'm always looking at the numbers. I do like creating, it's a lot of fun, but quite frankly, I'm in printables for the money. I like creating stuff that sells. I like creating products that people actually buy. So I'm always doing the keyword research before I even create a product to make sure that's going to be popular. All right, KC, how do you keep people from just downloading your printable and copying it and passing it around? Good question. So it very rarely happens where someone might buy your printable, download it, and then I guess they could copy it and pass it around. But I mean, most of these people aren't going to have a big distribution network anyway. If they were to grab it and copy it and then put it in their own shop on Etsy, you can actually send basically a cease and desist on Etsy, like, hey, take that down. That's my product. You can even send an appeal into Etsy itself, and they'll be like, oh, and they'll help you out and say, oh, this person's copying Casey's design. The chance that they're going to grab your product, download it, and then just give it out for free on the internet, and assuming they have a big web presence, they can get it out to a bunch of people, very, 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 very low. I would not worry about that at all. Okay, is it possible for buyers to customize the forms like a drop down list before downloading it? Yeah, there's a lot of customization options. You can do customization or editability in Canva. There's a program called Cordial, Corjl. You can do it in Adobe. You can do it even in something like Google Sheets. You can have a Google Sheet if you're talking about like a drop down list. I know someone who sells Google Sheet accounting templates, Google Sheet budgeting, Google Sheet side hustle tracker, and they all have the functionality where they could go in and edit the cells. Like the person who buys the product from you could go in and make edits. So there's a lot of different programs depending on what you're creating that allows the customer to edit the end product. Okay. What are your thoughts on Etsy ads? So I actually don't think starting out that you should be using Etsy ads. I am a big fan of scrappy entrepreneurship at the start. So I always like to go in and figure it out before I go spending extra money on things like ads or maybe programs or softwares I might not need. I like just going in and figuring it out. I do take some direction, like if I have a mentor or there's like some training that I can take, I'll do that, but I'll just go in and I won't buy any of the expensive equipment yet. I won't get the top tier stuff. Like when I started podcasting and doing YouTube, I just bought a $50 mic off Amazon and then I upgraded as I got better and better. So that was a very long winded way to say, what are your thoughts on Etsy ads? So I use Etsy ads once a product starts working. I think a lot of people will try to make a product work by spending ad money on it. And sometimes that works out, sometimes it doesn't. But what I do is I do my keyword research, I create my product, I make sure it's competitive, I make sure the listing images are good, I make sure the title's good, I make sure the tags are good, the description is as descriptive and as concise as possible. All the things. I make sure my listing is as good as possible. Once that listing starts seeing success, then I'll start to pump some ad spend and see if I can get it in front of more eyeballs and eventually make more sales. I had one product a couple of Valentine's days ago, was doing really, really well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. Let's see if I can pump in some ad spend to get some more sales. So I upped my ad spend to $100 a day, $100 a day. And I was actually able to return 3 to 1 on my ad spend. So I was spending $100, getting $300 back. It was for a short stint, but that was an example of it was already working. And I was just like, let's double down. Let's hammer this thing. Like it's already working. I might as well pour as much ad spend as I can into this product that's crushing it right now. So that's kind of my take on ads. I don't think it's necessary right out of the gate. You're much better off learning keyword research and SEO and how to find a product that buyers actually want to buy rather than creating a product, spending a bunch of money on ads, and then come to find out nobody really wants that product in the first place. So that's my thoughts on ads. Okay. How much is your course and membership? All right. I was going to talk about this at the end, but I'll just talk about this real quick right now. So we have this thing. It's called the E-Printables Course. The reason we started it back in 2019, my business partner and friend, Julie, had introduced me to printables. She started a shop in 2017, I believe. She was originally selling temporary tattoos. Then she switched to printables because they're a lot more passive. So many people were asking her and then asking me, how do I make money with digital products? How do I get started? And instead of doing a bunch of one-on-ones, we didn't want to do a million one-on-one Zoom calls, even though it's friends and family, it takes up a lot of time. Ended up putting together a whole program, a whole course, whole community where we could basically extract all of the data out of our brains that we had on printables, package it in the best way possible so people can learn and not make the same mistakes that we made. And that's how the E-Printables course was born. Um, I know I didn't even answer the question yet. How much is your course and membership? E-Printables course, usually $247. We are having a sale right now, $50 off. So it's $197. That sale ends and enrollment ends actually on April 1st at midnight. We do have a membership as well, which comes with monthly templates. We have experts in our Facebook group answering questions 24/7. We have a bunch of live events with live replays. We have a private podcast. We have challenges every single month. We have shop audits. So you can submit your listings, submit your shop, and get feedback. That is $29 a month. But when you buy the course, again, which is $197, you get a 30-day free trial. If it's not for you, you can drop out. Okay. How many products do you need to be successful? There is no hard and fast rule on this. We've seen people with literally one product in their shop. They just hit the nail on the head. They made their first product. They did the research. They hit a trend, whatever it might be, and they just started making sales right away. It doesn't happen often, but we've had people who have literally signed up for a course and then on the first day, my shop and made my first 3 sales. Like, what? That's crazy. It doesn't usually like that, but it does happen. In terms of how many you need to be successful, success is what you define it as. Some people are just doing this as a side hustle to make a couple hundred extra bucks. Some people are trying to make thousands of dollars per month. In terms of successful, it's probably and if you want to be making in 4 figures, so $1,000 plus, we usually see that it's once you get past that 100-ish products range, the Pareto principle. It's the 80-20 rule. If you have 100 products in your shop, it's probably 20 of them that's going to be bringing in the lion's share of your revenue. So if go back to my previous example, you have 20 things bringing in $50 a day, or not $50. Yeah, $50 a day in aggregate. Then you're going to be looking at, was that 50 times 30, like $1,500 a month. So that's kind of how that math shakes out. So we usually find that sweet spot's like somewhere around 100 products. But again, it completely depends. There's some people with 10 products in their shop and they're all just killer products. They're like planners or mega bundles and they just crush and they only have 10 products. So there's really no hard and fast rule for how many you need. If you only have a couple of products, it's going to be harder because it is a numbers game. If you only have 2 products in your shop, don't expect to be making boatloads of money. But as you start to add more products, there's a higher likelihood that people are going to find those products and convert on them. All right, Jamie, if you have multiple niches or themes, is it more beneficial to have multiple storefronts? I actually think that it is much easier to have everything under one roof. Now, if you have a shop that takes off and it's just about planners, going back to my last example, and it's Jamie's planners, and you just want to be about planners, you don't want to confuse your buyers, you don't want anything else in there besides planners, then sure, you can have a separate shop. But for 95% of people, I think it makes sense to house everything under one roof. When you have all your analytics, when you have all your ads, when you have all your marketing, when you have all of your shop management tools under one roof, it is so much easier. And you're going to be like, well, Cody, isn't that super confusing for buyers? Well, you can actually use the shop sections feature. So you've probably seen this if you're a buyer on Etsy, or if you're a seller, you already know about this. But you can actually separate your shop into sections. So you could have planners, you could have like party games, you could have thank you cards, you could have all of them sorted out and kind of filed away individually so that buyers who come onto your shop, they know exactly, oh, I'm in the thank you card section. These are all thank you cards. I'm in the planner section. These are all planners. Okay. So yeah, I would suggest, Jamie, that unless you're dead set on having Jamie's planners and all that's going in that shop is planners, and then you want a separate shop for birthday cards, then you could separate them. But honestly, it's so much easier just having shop sections. Can a product be cross-marketed between Etsy and Pinterest? Great question, Alan. Yes. I like to say that Pinterest and Etsy go together like peanut butter and jelly. The crossover of people on Pinterest and Etsy is astronomical. We don't have the exact data because they don't give us that data, but the same people that are on Pinterest are on Etsy. So the people scrolling through and getting ideas for home decor or a new budgeting spreadsheet to start off the year or a fitness tracker or a planner or a scrap journal, those same people are they're likely to click through to that Pinterest bin, get to your Etsy shop and purchase. So having a presence on Pinterest to promote your Etsy shop is a fantastic idea because there's such big buyer overlap. Okay. No experience with Etsy. Is there an Etsy for Dummies class somewhere? LOL. Yes, that is exactly what I was just talking about. The E-Printables course that we have is like, put nicely, it's the Etsy course for dummies. You can start with no experience. It's like Etsy 101. It's the A to Z, everything you need to know. That's at if you type in goldcityventures.com. I'm repping the shirt. You need help spelling it. goldcityventures.com, and you can go check that out, and it's open for enrollment right now. So yeah, that is the Etsy course for dummies, if you will. All right, how do you decide on product pricing if you're new to this? And we had another question on pricing as well. Honestly, the best way to do this is to look at what the competition is selling their stuff for. I like to be somewhere in the middle of the pack, maybe the lower of the middle of the pack, right when you're starting out. I don't like to be the bargain bin. So you don't want to be selling your stuff for 99 cents. Depends on the product. There's some stickers and things like that you might want to sell for less. You also don't want to be way over everybody else. I like being somewhere in the middle of the pack because I've been there personally where you might think, "Oh, I'm gonna price this really low. People are gonna love this." But sometimes when stuff's too low, you get skeptical. You're like, "Is this bad quality? Like, why is it 99 cents and these other ones are $5? That doesn't really make sense to me." So you got to take that into account as well. And you don't want to be super high because people would be like, "Why would I pay $20 for this when I could buy these $5 ones that are perfectly fine?" So that's kind of how I think about pricing digital products. I go and look at the competition, and I literally just type in whatever that keyword is that I'm going for, whatever the main thing that I think people are going to type into the search bar to look for the product that I'm creating. I'll, the best sellers are doing. If you don't know how to identify bestsellers, there's a nice big bestseller uh, sellers and listings that are doing really well appropriately. Okay, how much? Let's see, starting an Etsy shop costs a whopping $15. So it's a pretty low investment compared to some of these other ventures out there. You don't need to go and buy a car. You don't need to go to drive for Uber. You don't need to go and get all this fancy software or equipment. A lot of the stuff in the Etsy toolkit is 100% free. So signing up for Etsy costs 15 bucks. They just recently implemented that because there was a lot of bots and spammers signing up. So now it's actually good for us sellers because as a seller myself, I was getting messages from some like spammers and bots like, "Hey, can you give me your email address?" Or like, "I can't download my printable. Can you like put it in this weird Dropbox folder?" There's just a lot of kind of shady stuff going on. So Etsy cracked down on it, and now they're making people basically just verify that you're a human being or someone who's legitimately a seller, someone who's not just a scammer who's signing up 15 accounts at once, trying to just kind of play with the algorithm. So 15 bucks, and then it costs 20 cents for per listing that you put up. So it's really not breaking the bank to start the side hustle. And even if you do get some of the fancy tools, they're not expensive. Like I've done some side hustles that cost a lot of money to start up. I had a physical product business before. I spent somewhere between 25 and $30,000 getting that thing off the ground. This is a lot more. It is $15 once, Alicia. Okay, so yeah, $15 once, 20 cents per listing. A lot of the keyword research and other tools that you'll be using, there is a free version. For me, I like the pro versions of some of these, but for example, Canva, there's a free version. You can use that to create printables. eRank, keyword research software, they have a free version. I pay for both of those, so I pay $12 a month for Canva. I pay $10 a month for eRank. Again, not really breaking compared to some of the other side hustles out there. And that's pretty much I use Cordial too, which is another editable printable software. I think that one's $9.99 a month plus a small transaction fee per item sold. But you don't have to use any of those. You can start with the free stuff. That's what I did. Free Canva, free keyword research tools, $1 or sorry, one time $15 startup fee, and then 20 cents per listing. It's really a low lift. The biggest investment you're going to be making with this side hustle is your time. It does take time to create those first products, but once you get the ball rolling, this is the really cool thing about selling printables versus other side hustles. Like I've delivered, believe it or not, I've delivered food on a bicycle for Uber Eats. That is the most unpassive side hustle you could possibly think of. I'm profusely sweating, grabbing pizza from the restaurant, delivering it to someone's house. It was a hilly place. It was not fun. It was not passive income whatsoever. With a digital product, though, I can spend a couple hours creating the digital product, put it in my shop. When someone buys it, Etsy just automatically sends them the file. So I've had weeks where I'm making hundreds of dollars, not even working in my shop, just because I created it a couple months ago or a couple years ago, and people are still buying them, and Etsy just delivers it automatically. The only time it's not passive, the reason I like to say this is a 95% passive side hustle, about 1 in 20 customers I have will send me a message with a clarifying question. Hey, does this include this? Hey, I can't figure out how to download. And I basically have created a bunch of canned responses that I can just quickly add into my Etsy conversation. And it takes me 5 seconds. But That's the only part that's not completely passive. Okay. What niches are worthwhile to pursue? All right, great question. So a niche is basically just picking, I'm going to do planners versus thank you cards versus birthday cards. Like, a niche is just basically picking a kind of a narrow vertical for a product or types of products that you're creating. There's no right or wrong when it comes to niches. I like to say that don't think about it like what niche should I pursue? Use the keyword research, and I've used that phrase a lot today. Use the keyword research to guide your niche selection. Sometimes you'll come across a product that you never would have thought of creating before, but you see it and you see it in E-Rank or you see it in Insight Factory or you see it trending on Google Trends or Pinterest Trends. You're like, that seems like a pretty good product. And you never know. That product could go absolutely gangbusters for you. And all of a sudden, you have a shop filled with that style of product because it took off. So I like to say follow the keyword research. Don't select a niche first. You can if you want. If you're married to the idea of planners or you're married to the idea of stickers or thank you cards or spreadsheets or any of these things, that's fine. You can totally do that. I like to keep my options open because if there is something that works, I like to double down, triple down, spend my Etsy ads money on that thing that's working, create more similar products, use that original product that took off as a template to create more similar products to it. So I like to keep my options open. That's why I don't like to niche down at the start. I like to use keyword research to then find a niche once I have some success with something. All right. Another question about what programs you need to start the side hustle. What do they cost? Again, there's a lot of free versions. You don't really need the pro versions right at the start. I pay for Canva Pro, I pay for E-Rank Pro, and I pay for Cordial, but you don't need the pro version of any of those at the start. Okay. Do people in your community actually make money with this? Yes, they do. So we actually had someone who was just featured. I wonder if I can put this in the chat. We had a woman who was just featured for making $77,000 last year on Etsy. We've had people quit their jobs. We've had people even just cover the mortgage, cover grocery money. People take this to all different levels of serious. Some people are just spending 5 hours a week on this. Some people take this and run with it full time. It totally depends on the person. It totally depends on the niche. It totally depends on the time, the stage of their life they're in. It might be someone who's just a stay at home mom who has a 5 extra hours a week. Maybe they drop the kids off, they work at their Etsy shop for an hour, and they're making a couple hundred extra bucks a month. Could be it. Or it's someone who has a bunch of time. Maybe they just left their job or they're just looking for something new. Maybe the kids have just gone to school full time and now they have, 6 hours a day to work on this and they might be making thousands of dollars per month. There is everyone in between. We've had, again, people making a couple $100 a month and pumped about it too, which is great because it's you get out what you put into this. And then we've had people make $160,000 in a year. So yeah, people are making money. Results vary, obviously, based on the type of person you are, how much time you have, what niche you select, how many products you put up, but people are still getting results. And like I said, Etsy is spending a lot of money getting new buyers onto their platform, which is awesome for us Etsy sellers. I love when I get an off-site ad sale, meaning that this person never would have even found, they wouldn't even have been on Etsy. Etsy's showing this to them, showing my product to them while they're browsing on Google. And then, they make a sale for me. And of course, Etsy gets a cut. They're incentivized. They get their 6.5%. But here's another thing. If we have any handmade sellers in the house, let me know because I love teaching handmade sellers how they can, not that you have to drop handmade, but how you can add additional digital products to your shop and kind of add passive income on the side in addition to your handmade shop. But the reason I'm saying this, a lot of handmade sellers were really upset when Etsy changed its fees beginning of last year, from 5% to 6.5%. So if you had a $10 product before, Etsy was taking 50 cents, now they're taking 65 cents. If you're someone who's weaving baskets, if you're someone who's like custom printing and doing all these different colors on t-shirts, I get it. That sucks that Etsy's taking a little extra because you're spending all that time. You're not really making more money because you can't really, you don't have the time in the day to fulfill more orders. Etsy is basically just taking more money from you. But as a digital product seller, if I sell 5 units versus 10 units versus 20 units, it's no additional work for me. If Etsy is charging me an extra 0.15 or 1.5% or whatever, and they get me an extra customer, that's a huge win for both of us, for me and Etsy. Because as a digital product seller, as I sell incrementally more products, it's not more work for me other than the occasional customer question. So that's the difference. I know a lot of the handmade sellers are really upset, and I totally get it. I feel you. I'd be upset too if I've spent 10 hours weaving something, or I spent 10 hours putting some really customized handmade product together, and then Etsy's like, you know what, I'm gonna take an extra $2 from that. I get it. But as a digital product seller, if Etsy is bringing you more customers from offsite ads, from Super Bowl ads, from whatever the heck ads they're running, huge win. Even if they're taking a little extra off the top, if they're going to bring me 2 or 3 extra customers, like awesome. Oh wow, Jack, you make handmade wood signs. I know you're also a printable seller. That's super cool. Yeah, I love the combo. I like teaching handmade sellers because a lot of handmade sellers that I know, like one handmade seller, she does t-shirts, and she had all these amazing that she made from scratch. I think she made some of them in Procreate, she made some of them in Illustrator. Like, why don't you put these SVGs in your Etsy shop as SVGs? She's like, I never thought of that. She put them in her shop and she started making sales with them passively, which is awesome from work she had already done. Okay. New shop here. I'm getting a lot of views, but no clicks. Any ideas? All right. This is a really good question. So when someone says, I'm getting a lot of views, but no clicks, or maybe they're getting a lot of clicks, but no sales, you can start to diagnose the problem. So here's the problem with this one. I'm just going to get real with you. You're getting a lot of views, but no clicks. Any ideas? If you're getting a lot of views, that means you probably have a product that's pretty well researched. You did your keyword research, so good job. People are finding your product, whether it's on page 1 or page 2 or whatever. That's what a view is when they scroll past your product. But you're not getting clicks. So there's a couple things that might be wrong with you, or might be wrong with your product. It could be either the listing image. That's a big one. I like to think of the listing image as the gatekeeper to sales because you could have the best product in the world. It could be everything that the buyer is looking for. But if you have a crappy main listing image, why is someone going to want to click into that? They're not even going to get to read your description. They're not even going to get to look at all the other listing pictures you have outlining the features. They're going to get to see 90% of the product because the main listing image is bad. So don't get caught in that trap of not spending enough time on that main listing image. The other one could be your title. If the title is not descriptive enough or the title doesn't match exactly what that person is looking for, then they might skip on to the next one. For example, I had a product that I created. It was a meal planner, but also included a grocery list. And in Etsy's analytics, I looked and saw that people were typing in grocery list and finding my product a lot more than they were typing in meal planner and finding my products. But my product said like meal planner printable or planner weekly printable, something like that. So I was like, okay, well, these people typing in grocery list and seeing meal planner, they're just browsing by, they're scrolling right past my product. Like they're like, this isn't a good fit for me. So what did I do? I changed my product. I changed the beginning of the title to say grocery list and meal planner. And now those people who typed in grocery list to the search bar, they're scrolling down and they see my title and they're like, oh, grocery list. And it attracts their attention for that one extra second. And that's all you need sometimes to get the sale. So we talked about title. We talked about the listing image. The last thing that could really deter someone from clicking in would be price. I talked about pricing before. So make sure your product is priced competitively, not too high, not too low, somewhere right in the middle. Goldilocks method. Okay. Do you sell anywhere besides Etsy? Actually, hold on real quick before I lose my train of thought on the last one. So this person had a lot of views, but no clicks. If you're getting a lot of clicks and no sales, then it might be some things that are actually wrong with the like internal parts of the listing. So I like to think of the title and the listing image and the price. Those are like external. Those are like that's the storefront. But inside the store, once they actually get in, once they're looking at your product, if you're getting a lot of clicks and no sales, then it might be something wrong with your listing images. It might be something wrong with listing images again. So like 2 through 10 might be something wrong with your description. Maybe they thought they were clicking on another product, the thing they searched for, they get to your product. They're like, this isn't quite what I was looking for. So you might need to rearrange some of your tags or some of your keywords or some of the words in your description. Maybe it could be another thing where your pricing's off because usually it's like listing image and title that gets people in. And then they might decide, this one's a little pricey, or this seems too cheap. Is this like a scam or something? So yeah, once you can figure out what the problem is, and this is going into your Etsy stats section, then you can diagnose the problem and make changes appropriately. So if you're getting a lot of views, no clicks, it's probably a listing image, probably title issue. If you're getting a lot of clicks, no sales, it's probably an issue with your tags, or it could be with your description, or it could be with your listing images 2 through 10. And then I guess another scenario, if you're not getting a lot of views, maybe you picked the wrong keyword. Maybe it's not a product that people are searching for, or it's just too competitive of a product. Okay. Do you sell anywhere else besides Etsy? Yes. So I'm going to caveat this with I think Etsy is one of the best places to get started selling printables because they bring the traffic to you. That's why during this stream, I've been so focused on talking about keyword research and SEO because if you understand those, you can understand what products to create. And if you understand what products to create, the buyers come to you. Like basically at a 10,000 foot view, all you're doing is trying to figure out this is all of digital products. This is all of marketing and sales basically. You're figuring out what people are searching, what people are typing into the search bar. You're creating that product and making it look as good and be as functional as possible. That is the entire game, like distilled down into one sentence. Figure out what people are typing in and create the thing they're typing in to the best of your ability. That is this entire game. So the reason why I like Etsy so much is if you can get really good at that game, Etsy will actually deliver the buyers to you. If you're selling on a lot of these other platforms like Shopify, which I sell on, like WooCommerce, which I've sold on before, you have to drum up your own traffic. So unless you have a big social media following, or maybe you have an email list, or maybe you have a blog, or you have a newsletter, whatever, sure, you can open a Shopify store, you could open a WooCommerce store, you could sell your products through there. But if you don't have that presence, and a lot of the people in our community, a lot of the people who take our course, they don't have a big social media presence, they don't have an email list, they don't have a blog, they don't have a brand, then Etsy is the way to go because Etsy is 100 million buyers just waiting to buy stuff on there. It's a lot easier than trying to find random people who want to buy from your Shopify store they've never heard of before, rather than being on a trusted platform like Etsy that they know and love. Okay, very long-winded way of saying yes. I sell other places besides Etsy, Shopify, WooCommerce. I actually haven't sold on Teachers Pay Teachers, but someone on our team, Chelsea, she sells on Teachers Pay Teachers, and she crushes. And she's a teacher herself, and she's selling a lot of the stuff that she's actually using in her classroom. So there's a lot of these other like kind of niche sites that are similar to Etsy, but personally, in terms of the big marketplaces, I sell on Etsy. If you're a graphic designer, you can sell on places like Creative Market and Creative Fabrica. But yeah, Etsy is the way to go to start. If you want to expand, you can get into Shopify or have a WordPress site and add the WooCommerce extension. But you can make a pretty good side hustle out of this with just Etsy. Okay, what other questions do I got here? All right. Does anybody have any questions? Looks like we have a bunch of people watching live. I just want to remind you real quick. I have one more question here, but I want to remind you real quick that the E-Printables course, I know someone asked before, do you have basically printables or digital products for dummies? Like someone who's never sold an Etsy before, someone who has no clue how to get started. Is there a course for that? Yes, that is exactly what E-Printables is. That's why we created it. We want to show you the roadmap A to Z, step by step, exactly how you do it from keyword research to creating the product to marketing the product, then kind of blowing up your shop and expanding your sales and figuring out marketing and ads and all that fun stuff that comes afterward. And that course is available until Monday, April 1st at midnight. So you have a couple more days to decide. We have a fun April challenge coming up where we're going to basically give you these bonus templates. We're going to tell you what you can create with them. And then we're going to give you Sasha Hutchison, who is our group expert. She is awesome. She has over 20,000 sales on Etsy. She sells in the finance and like budgeting spreadsheet niche. She goes through and actually does a shop audit on all of the products you create for this April challenge. So you'll come out of the gate hot. Like you'll have good products right from the start, which is very different from my journey where I was fumbling around for 3 or 4 months creating products that nobody wanted to buy because I didn't have anyone to tell me that they were bad. So she is a master at that. We have that printables challenge coming up. So make sure that if you're interested and this sounds like a cool side hustle, make sure you join ePrintables before April. The doors are shutting, and after that, we won't be able to let you in. And again, it's $197. Typically $247. We're running a $50 off sale because we're feeling generous and holidays are right around the corner for those who celebrate. And we have a membership. You get 30-day free trial is a bonus that we're giving out this time around. And what else am I missing? Yeah, I mean, we have a whole community. We have so many people that we've helped through this journey. We have group experts there to answer any question you have. Literally at all times of the day, we have people staffing our Facebook group, and we have all these extra resources, all these bonus templates. That's one of the coolest things actually I should mention is that when I started this, I started creating all my designs from scratch in Canva, like literally blank screen, and it wasn't fun. It took a lot of time. But in the ePrintables course, we just gift you like 30 plus templates to create a whole slew of products. And we tell you and we teach you how to make, this base template into 10 different products using keyword research. For those who have been around for this entire live, remember the very beginning when I was talking about short tail versus long tail keywords? So you take a short tail keyword, like for example, we give you an appreciation card as a template. And then we teach you how to make that appreciation card into 20 different cards. It could be like I was mentioning these before, a gym teacher appreciation card, a first grade substitute teacher appreciation card, a middle school football coach appreciation card. And we show you how to do the keyword research, go and apply that, and create a bunch of different printables with that. Okay, Cody, do you think it would be okay to sell printables in my Etsy store where I have wood signs? Honestly, yeah, if you I some people do this really, really well, where it's like it's almost thematic. So if they have like a wood sign, they might also have wall art that says something similar to the wood sign, or they might have something that complements it. It's like the same style, like maybe it's like bohemian, or maybe it's a certain style, like teak wood look. There's a lot of different styles where you can kind of intertwine the digital and the physical. I think you can absolutely do that, Jackie. I think that's a good idea. Um, yeah, I think it's easier to house everything under one roof. So you got a section in your shop that says wood signs. You could have a section that says wall art. You could have a section that says who knows, whatever else you're selling in your shop. The thing about Etsy is that most people, and I've kind of talked about how the transaction works, most people are typing something into the search bar. They're finding it on that results page. They're clicking into it and they're buying it. Most people aren't, clicking into a shop. It's not like you have a bunch of followers on Etsy and people are going to your profile and then picking what they're going to buy. Most people are typing something into the search bar. You have the thing they're searching for. They buy it. And then they may be a repeat customer in the future, but typically it's just not how they shop. Most people don't go shop, product, sale. They go product, sale, maybe shop afterward. Okay. Is the course set up so you progressively do the lessons and have practice or exercises you do during each one? And is it self-paced or are there any in-person seminar sessions? All right, great questions. So, okay, progressively, yes, you will be doing things throughout the entire time. So it's basically like follow along. So imagine me in the corner of your screen and I'm creating a printable and you're following along. Like you could do split screen and you're to do it. You're following along, and by the end of the video, you are going to have the exact same, hopefully close to the same printable that I'm creating. And we have dozens of these trainings. Even just going through the course itself, you're going to have dozens of printables ready to list. So yes, we have that. And then is it self-paced? Yes, it's self-paced. So you can go through at any time. We have people who finish the course in a couple days. We have people who finish the course in a couple months. All depends on how much time you have. But yes, it goes through and we have perfected the sequence over the last 5 years. So it's like in the easiest to follow order possible where we want you to get results. Like the biggest win for us is you get a sale in that first week. If you can follow along and you do all the steps that we're doing in the videos and you make sales like that, job well done. That's why we do this. It's amazing. I love seeing people post their wins. We have a Saturday win thread every week. People post their wins. I just made my first sale this week. I just made my hunter sale. It's amazing. That's why we keep doing this thing. So yes, we hold your hand through every step of the process and make it as easy as possible. Hi Cody, I make printables and make a membership for older ladies from Perth, Australia. Well, welcome. I love another printable seller in the house. Thank you, Julie. I signed up for the printable course and I can say it's amazing. And for those who are asking where, it's goldcityventures.com and you'll be able to check out the course. We have a workshop there, we have a bunch of stuff. Okay. Presently have a digital shop and a print on demand shop. The POD shop is taken off on sales, but the printables only have like 5 sales. Would you recommend moving printables to the POD? Oh, you have 2 separate shops. Yeah, put it under one roof because, like I was saying to Jackie, who was asking about having physical products and digital products, POD makes a lot of sense too. Like, if you have a design that's crushing and maybe you don't have the capacity to put that design on mugs or you don't have the capacity to put that design on, you name it, but you're crushing with t shirts and you just want to sell the SVG of the design you made, my gosh, why not? You know what I mean? Like, you can put those SVGs in your shop that you're selling. The average buyer who's buying a t-shirt from you is not going to go and buy the SVG and go and create their own t-shirt. It's just not going to happen. A lot of the buyers on Etsy aren't the most tech savvy or they don't have the time. That's why they're on Etsy in the first place. Like I've bought stuff on Etsy and I'm an Etsy seller. I buy stuff on Etsy all the time because I don't have the time to create something as nice as the person might have made and spent hours and hours on. So yeah, I would totally do that, Nordwolf. I would move your digital products to the POD shop and just use the shop sections feature. All right. Do you have access to the lessons after you finish the course? Yes, you will never lose access to the lessons after you buy the E-Printables course. All right. Are there payment plans with a discounted offer? Right now, it's just 197. But honestly, see if I can hook you up, Alicia. Email us at team@goldcityventures.com, and we have an awesome team who will take care of you. So just tell them you're looking for a payment plan, and they should be able to hook you up. All right. I agree with Julie. I'm a VIP member. It's amazing. Thank you, Jackie. Oh, I'm a VIP member also. Will you offer the $50 payment plan again? Like I said, Christine, the $50 payment plan, we're not offering that again, but if you email us, we'll see what we can do. We might be able to open up a little special payment plan for you. So email team@goldcityventures.com and we'll get you figured out. Cool. I'm glad we have a bunch of VIP members in here. I love that. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying it because that is literally every single day. Julie and I and the whole team are just thinking, how can we make this better? How can we make this easier? Like the January challenge we had back in January was a product of people were like, we want challenges. We want to know what to create. We want to get feedback on exactly what we're creating. That's why we're doing the April challenge again in a couple days from now in April. We just listen to you guys and we want to make it as easy as possible for you to make sales and you to actually make this side hustle work. So that's why we keep doing this thing. That's why I'm showing up tonight. I was only planning on going for half an hour. Looked like I would already been going for 45 minutes, but I guess I'll wrap up here. Again, ePrintables is open till April 1st at midnight Eastern. And if you have any last second questions, I will answer them. But if not, hopefully this was super helpful. I am feeling energized. I love doing these types of Q&As and helping people get started. It seems like we already have some people who are parts of our community and parts of the course. And I can't wait to welcome even more of you in there and hopefully get you started on your printables journey and unlock the power of passive income with printables. All right. No more questions. I am signing off. Thank you for tuning in and everyone have a good night or day. I don't know what time zone you're in. It's 8:47 for me. Talk to you later.